welcome back to Cardiff City TV. Over the wall, and into the goal! Cut back to Rolls, and Rolls fires home! Well, I think it's fair to say that Cardiff City's season so far has been a little bit of a roller coaster with all the ups and downs. Are you ready to get off yet? No, I didn't think so. Good afternoon and welcome to Cardiff City TV for coverage of Cardiff City's trip today to Carrow Road to take on Norwich City. It's the Bluebirds against the Canaries, with the Bluebirds very much looking to knock the Canaries off their perch. And yes, myself, Mark Denham and Ashley James will try and crowbar as many bird puns into today's broadcast as we can. The Bluebirds face a very stern test today against Norwich City, similar to the one they did against Watford a few weeks ago, travelling to a team in form. And for the Bluebirds, well, you might see it on the scrolling ticker on your screens, they have gone with a changed team today. 2 changes of significance, which we'll go through now. It looks like a 4-2-3-1 formation, with Joe Rawls playing as the fake number 10, who can then drop back to make a flat 3 in midfield. So the team in full is Alex Smithies in goal, Curtis Nelson and Sean Morrison, the 2 centre-halves, Leandro Bacuna and Greg Cunningham, the fullbacks. Cunningham coming in for Bennett in one of 2 changes. In midfield, Marlon Pack, Will Vokes, who really grew into the game, particularly in the second half on Wednesday night, retain their places, with Joe Rawls coming back in for Gavin White in what is the second change. As we say, I think Rawls will play as a fake number 10, but really will look to provide protection along with Pax and Vokes. And then you have Shea Ojo and Harry Wilson on the flanks, with Robert Glatzel up top. For Norwich, well, they are a team on a roll. They have won 4 games in succession. They certainly have not been suffering from any Premier League hangover. And in Todd Cantwell and Emi Buendia, they have probably the 2 most talented and creative players in the division. And in a moment, I'll be talking to Ashley James about how Cardiff City potentially go about stopping those 2 today. But for the Bluebirds, apart from the Derby Day defeat against Swansea, they are a team in form as well. 5 wins from 6. So it'll be a very interesting benchmark today to see if they can go to Carrow Road and get something from this game. We did last time out, you might remember, in the promotion-winning season, a late-season crucial win, a 2-1 win at Carrow Road. But Neil Harris, he knows he's in for a very difficult afternoon today, and he spoke to the media after the game on Wednesday night against Birmingham to talk about that character that was on display in a game that was a real seesaw battle.
But, we said that we went to Watford, went to Stoke, 2 teams in the top 5 and won at both places. So, we're showing that we can compete with the top sides. And we have to show that again the next 7 days, and we have to hope that we get 1 or 2 back from injury or suspension. And obviously we certainly go to Norwich full of confidence now. I think I said if anyone comes above Watford, it's going to be a top 3 finish for them. I think Norwich, seeing the points tally, they're a top side with top players, individual players, and collective players, and continuity in their squad, as well as the manager and the group. And Bournemouth, as we've seen, are probably the best team we've seen. So, they're strong sides. I was looking at the league table, looking at the league table and watching the championship highlights from last season. We've got more points this year than we had last year at this stage. And some teams last year started really well. I think Swansea were top of the league, or not far off at this stage. Bristol City were top of the league as well in December. And Forest were top in February or January or February. So things change quickly in the championship. That consistency is key, and it's putting runs together at key moments. We've probably in some ways been lucky was able to name the same side 5 games in a row, injury-wise. Probably really unlucky today when you look at the players that we had injured today. So just, all right, Geordie is a defender, but you've got Lee Tomlin, Isaac Vassell, okay, Vass we haven't seen for a while, but Lee Tomlin, Kiefer Moore, Josh Murphy, who wasn't well today. Junior Hoylett's still injured. And then Joe Rawls, our most attacking midfield player as well. So 6 players that affect the top 3 positions on the pitch. or top 4 position, we're missing. And for Gav White was excellent for 60 minutes. Certainly the first half hour was very good, and the players stepped up. And maybe we needed those changes. Mark came on and made a difference with his energy and his legs to run. Maybe wasn't thinking that when he blocked Robert Glatzel's shot on the line to stop him scoring, but made a difference energy-wise. And involving the young lads. I'm not a manager that's going to only name 6 or 7 subs on the bench just to make a point. The young lads are there. Are they all ready? Well, Mark's showing that he's got still some work to do, but he's affected the game certainly for us in the last 6 with 5 wins. Joel Bagan's played some football this year and played extremely well. We've got high hopes for him, as. The other lads, are they ready? No, realistically, they're not ready. But it's a great experience for them to be involved tonight. And if it's them or somebody else on Saturday, I'll always involve them because we want to promote our academy, and we're not going to have players at Cardiff City Academy 11 in the team this season or next season. It takes time. But this is, again, it's another small step saying that you've got a manager and you've got a group and a club that want to support the academy, and when the players are ready, they will play.
Speaking to the media after Wednesday night's win against Birmingham, a win where Cardiff City had to show real character to come from behind and claim the 3 points. Well, it will be a very, very valuable 3 points if the Bluebirds could potentially get them today. I'm in the Cardiff City studio, but I'm joined, as always, pre-match by my colleague Ashley James. And Ash, good to see you, first of all. Compliments for the season and all that.
Merry Christmas.
Just wanted to reflect firstly on that game on Wednesday night. It was, let's take the positive first. There was a lot of good character on display. A couple of nice goals, set-piece goal to win the game. That second goal, that for a ball from Marlon Pack was a thing of absolute beauty. But I don't know, the takeaway I went back with was over the course of both Birmingham and Swansea, goals there that we conceded that I think Neil Harris would probably describe as avoidable.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're right, John. I think, again, to concentrate on the positives first, it's another 3 points, 5 wins in 6, and a team that showed some real character to pull through a difficult game and come away with all 3 points. 3 points that probably looked unlikely for a large part of that. I thought we started really well for 20 minutes, and then the intensity just dropped off. We stopped dominating possession. Stopped moving the ball, stopped getting on the ball for a large period in midfield, which was more concerning. But, really grew back into the game. And I thought we went back to our fundamentals, went back to what we're strong at. Set piece was a real solid foundation in that second half for the comeback. And I thought the game actually turned when Will Vaulk started dominating in the middle of the park. And I thought he deserves a real mention there. But I think you're right. I think there was as many worrying elements as there were positives to the game, something that this work-in-progress team are going to have to continue to go through. But you're right, the goals, very avoidable. The type of sloppy, scrappy goals that Cardiff were conceding a month or so ago before this recent run of form, they've crept back in the last two games, and really avoidable, especially that second goal in transition.
Let me ask you about Robert Glatzel, because he's now the focal point up top. Kiefer Moore is out for an extended period of time. We know that. He was the talisman. Robert Glatzel came in. It was a bit of a mixed bag night. I thought he took his chance very well in terms of his goal-scoring chance and the opportunity to put in a dominant 90 minutes. He played very well against Harley Dean. Of course, there was that penalty miss, stroke save, the great save from former Bluebird Neil Etheridge. What do you think Robert Glatzel will take out of his game on Wednesday night?
I think he'd be encouraged. As you said, he took his goal really well, a really confident finish to allow that ball to run across his body, knowing that Etheridge was going to come out and make himself big and to still slot it past him. I think in terms of what he's going to be allowed to bring to the team going forward, it'll be as much as we provide for him, quite frankly, because I thought, much like the team performance, for 20 minutes he was very good. And then the supply line completely dried up to him. And he was a passenger and a bystander for a large period until Mark Harris came back on the pitch and shared that burden of responsibility with his workload and the running the channels and made life very difficult. Because like you said, he was in a real good individual battle, Robert Glatzel, with Harley Dean, and I thought he came out on top of that. Look, he's a very different striker to Kiefer Moore. We know that, and this is going to be the biggest hurdle to this team going on another good run of form is knowing and how to use Robert Glasgow and getting the better of them, because you can't just play the same out ball time and time again as you would normally when Kiefer Moore's on the pitch. You've got to be a bit more intelligent than that. And if you play to Robert Glassell's strengths, as we did at times in midweek, then we'll see the benefits of that. Look, he's learning how to be a physical striker as well. And he doesn't shirk his responsibility. Like you mentioned, he gave Harley Dean a really difficult time, but you can't consistently play the same balls into him that you would to Kiefer Moore. You need to mix up the service a bit more.
You mentioned there in your answer about Mark Harris, and I thought Mark Harris did do well when he came on. He did what we've become the cliche about Mark Harris now, that he stretched the game. And it meant Cardiff going back to a 4-4-2 formation. We've seen 4-2-3-1. We think 4-2-3-1 today, Ash, looking at the team, although Joe Rawls will fill that gap between number 10 and an extra body in midfield. But is it a positive that Neil Harris is going between these two formations at the moment? Is it a conundrum? Does it show perhaps that we don't quite know what this work in progress Cardiff City team can best deliver in which formation?
Yeah, all of the above, I think. John, I think he wants to play a 4-2-3-1 because he wants to put Harry Wilson in a natural position where he can better influence games from, which is the number 10 position where he seems more comfortable. And I think you saw that in the early exchanges of midweek. But we just don't look as comfortable and we don't look as threatening playing that formation. The change to the two up top has worked largely in recent weeks. There's been setbacks as well, of course. But I think flexibility is key at this level. And I think you look at the teams that have got success and got promoted in recent seasons, it is because the flexibility. I'm just looking at my screen. Joe Rawls will absolutely not be playing on the right wing this afternoon. I can tell you that. But whoever plays on the flanks and in the number 10 position, the key is whatever formation we're playing is, or whether that's a second striker in Mark Harris, is getting the ball into them, because I thought in the last couple of games, service has dried up into that area and those players have been far too quiet. Again, special mention for Will Vaulks, because I thought he came alive in the last 25 minutes on the weekend and started in midweek and started dominating that middle of the park, and that's where we started to get better service going forward, and that's where Marlon Pack started seeing more ball alongside his midfield partner.
Just a quick final question on Cardiff before we turn our attention to Norwich and just looking at the team sheet there. Cunningham for Bennett. Bennett's been a stalwart. He's been so good for so long. Maybe the last couple of games he's looked a bit tired and what have you. Not a bad chance where we got depth in that position to give Greg Cunningham a start.
Yeah, it's a squad game, and as you say, we've got depth. I think Joel Bagan can consider himself a little frustrated that he hasn't got the start ahead of Greg Cunningham this afternoon. But you've got three left backs at the club, all pushing for first team football, and two which would have really wanted that start in place of Joe Bennett today. Look, Joe's been a magnificent servant for this club in his time here. He's a really good left back at this level and a really good guy as well. I like him a lot, but the truth of the matter is he's made mistakes in the last couple of games, and he's made mistakes that have cost Cardiff goals. So, Neil Harris has looked to his squad and decided it's a time to freshen that up, and that's how a squad game should work.
So, Ash, the student of opponents that you are, tell me about Norwich, because I look at them, I wondered whether they were going to have that famous Premier League relegation hangover. They haven't. They're at the top of the table, and they've done it through a little bit of an injury crisis as well. So that's a real tick to their consistency. And of course, I want to ask you about two players who are real favourites of mine, Emi Buendia and Todd Cantwell. If Cardiff City allow them to today, they can run the game and rip the Bluebirds apart.
Yeah, I mean, I think you look at the three quality teams in this division, and we've beaten one of them in the last couple of weeks in Watford, and we got a good result against Bournemouth as well earlier in the season. But the three relegated teams look head and shoulders, quite frankly, at the moment, and a lot of that is down to the fact that the COVID impacted transfer window in the summer. None of them lost anywhere near the level of players that they thought they might or feared they might. So those three teams have gone into this season with incredibly strong squads. I'll caveat that for Norwich, because as you said, there was a point in this season where they were missing up to 14 players. So they have done remarkably well, and Daniel Farke deserves a huge amount of credit for the job he's done this season in picking up a team who were losing week after week after week in the Premier League last season. And I wondered despite the strong squad they had, how they just be able to flick that switch and go back into winning mode this season. Well, they have. They've lost one game in 15. They're 7 unbeaten at home. They just keep winning games. Yes, they have a lot of quality, but my word, they've made it they've had it difficult for themselves with injuries. I mean, even today, you look at the back four. They've got one fit senior goalkeeper. They've got 2 fit senior fullbacks. Even if you call Sorensen a fullback, he signed for the club to play midfield. They've got 2 fit senior centre backs. So they've gone with the back 5 that they can. They started to get a bit of depth back now, going further forward. Pukki's missed time, Cantwell's missed time, Buendia's missed time. But those two you've mentioned, Cantwell and Buendia, can absolutely run the show at this level. Their statistics alone, for Buendia at least, is remarkable. It looks like the kind of statistics that Mateus Pereira was producing at West Brom last season, which is a remarkable feat. And Cantwell is a player with a point to prove. He's been kept out of the team for a large part of this season, and is now getting his opportunity again. And I think a special mention for 2 players, one of them who starts today, one on the bench for Norwich, because 2 players in Mario Vrancic and Marco Stiepermann, who were fantastic for Norwich in their promotion campaign, and then didn't really get a kick last season, were largely kept out of things, were used sparingly and rather begrudgingly, it seemed, by the manager. Well, they seem to have held no grudge against him, because they've both been brought back into the fold this season, and during this injury crisis, they've both really come to the fore and been consistent performers again for the Canaries.
And of course, there's always Timo Pukki.
It's just remarkable goal scorer. You look at Timo Pukki and he offers no individual asset that if you're scouting a striker at a top level, you would say, yeah, he's got that. He's just a very intelligent player. His movement's good, very good. His pace, there's enough of it that he can create separation from defenders. He's an intelligent player and a good enough finisher as well, that he picks his opportunities well. He's got 29 goals in the Championship in their promotion campaign. He's got 10 already this year. Ironically, that is exactly the same amount of goals that he had on the 19-game mark last time. So he scored 19 goals last time in the second half of the season, what Norwich would give for a similar run again this time around.
That's why I always rely on you for the stats, Ash. You astound me as always. Just finally, a little ironic, we're talking about heading into the Christmas period. It actually gives a chance for a break for a change. 7 whole days, is it, before the next game? That's a lot in terms of a break this season. A chance maybe for Cardiff City and all team, but we're only concentrating on Cardiff City, of course. A chance to reflect, a chance to regroup, and a chance for build for the unofficial second half of the season.
It's nice, isn't it? Yeah, it's the first midweek that Cardiff haven't had a game for 4 weeks. So, the players will look forward to Christmas. Yeah, obviously they've got to train on Christmas Day because they're playing on Boxing Day, but it does give them a little run up with their families now to Christmas, and I think that's important. There's only a couple of clubs playing midweek, and that's because it's been set aside for the League Cup quarterfinals. So there are a couple of Championship clubs involved. I think Stoke is still in the competition. But yeah, you look at the festive fixture period, and it's no more arduous than the last couple of months have been in the Championship so far. So I think teams will be a lot more well prepared for that. And then you look at January as well, and far from me to suggest the teams will not want to do well in the FA Cup, because rounds 4 and 5 have been set aside as midweek fixtures. Then again, if you go out in the 3rd round, you've got a couple of free midweeks. Nod, nod, wink, wink.
I unofficially agree with you, of course. Ash, if I don't see you or catch up with you, have a great Christmas, and I'll see you on Boxing Day.
Yeah, all the best, everyone.
My thanks as ever to Ash for joining us pre-game. Now, after the game on Wednesday, journalists also had the chance to speak to Sean Morrison and Harry Wilson, fresh from a winning goal and setting up the winning goal. Here's what the 2 Bluebirds had to say.
No midweek game next week, but you've got a small matter of an away game at the league leaders coming up. Doesn't get any easier, does it?
No, it'd be nice to, like you said, have a couple of days off, because we've not had that for a while with, like you said, Saturday, Tuesday or Saturday, Wednesday every week. So yeah, we'll go to Norwich on Saturday. We know what a good team they are, but we're going there in good form. Like you said, 5 wins out of 6, so we'll make sure we go there, and we know after that we've got a week to prepare for the next game, so we'll give it our all and try and come out of there with a positive result.
Obviously, top of the league, absolutely flying. They've got a great squad. Carrow Road's a difficult place to go. if it's a full house or not. Do you know what I mean? Like I said, it's a long journey for us, and it's going to be a tough game. They've got a lot of experience in the team. They've held on to large parts of their squad that they had in the Premier League last year. So we've just got to get a quick turnaround now. We've only got a couple of days to prepare for the next one, but we'll be ready come Saturday lunchtime.
And a Norwich team with a huge amount of injuries, or starting to get bodies back from injuries. You know, working with the analysts, how difficult is it to predict at the moment just what you're going to see from the team?
Yeah, it is difficult, like you said. Like, we look at the opposition before the game, and yeah, we plan on what they think they're going to play. But I think a lot of times this season, the team hasn't played the way we think we're going to play. So it's up to us before the game when we get the team to make sure everyone knows their jobs. But I'm sure they're doing the same with us. I know the way we've been playing the last few weeks, we've kept the same team and the same system. But like I said, even us now, we've got players, whether it's suspended or injured, teams are going to have to change, and whether that's changing faces or formations. So yeah, it's one of them. Like the season, the game's coming thick and fast, so teams are chopping and changing. So we've got to make sure we concentrate on ourselves and make sure we're ready for anything.
Top 5 in association with the Big Yellow Self-Storage Company.
Onside header, saved by Gunn, pushed away to the far side. Zahor still in possession and scores! From out of nothing, Cardiff City lead. Kenneth Zahor off the bench onto the score sheet, and with 4 minutes left on the clock, Cardiff take the lead.
How important could that be, Ash? Kenneth Zahor reacts superbly, like you said, stayed onside.
To Mendes Lang, but it breaks clear off a defender. To Manga, who plays it back to Tomlin. Infield to Rawls, who plays it away towards the near side. Bennett getting it forward to Hoyland. Infield to Tomlin. Hoyland has it. Chance here for the shot. Coming in. Oh, what a goal from Hoyland! 2-1.
Simple, precise build-up from Cardiff City. Spreading some passes together, working the overlap on this near side. Hoylett and Tomlin between them. Unstoppable from Hoylett. Cardiff are home and host.
What a result this is going to be, Ash. And it's the big boys who have delivered. Junior Hoylett's been fantastic all season. He went close 5 minutes ago and he's delivered with an absolute thunderbolt. Brilliant goal. That's going to be up there with one of his best of the season.
For more behind-the-scenes content, download the Cardiff City Google extension for your home browser.
There we go. Our last pre-game show of the pre-festive period all wrapped up. All that leaves for me to say is to wish you all a very happy Christmas. We shall see you on Boxing Day. The other side of the credits, you'll be joined by commentators Mark Denham and Ashley James. So just a reminder, if you're watching on YouTube at the moment, flick over now to the website for your audio commentary of today's game between the Bluebirds and Norwich City. But on behalf of everybody here at Cardiff City TV, we hope you have a very lovely Christmas.
Welcome back to Cardiff City TV. Tomlin over the wall and into the goal! Cut back to Rolls, and Rolls fires home.
Well, good afternoon and welcome to Matchday Live, courtesy of Cardiff City TV. This audio commentary of today's game between Norwich City and Cardiff City. We're at this famous old stadium, Carrow Road, most easternly point geographically of Championship football. And as you can tell by what you're hearing, or if you are watching this overseas, there are supporters here at Carrow Road today. Norfolk in Tier 2. Which is how we're talking these days, tiers and rules and regulations, what have you. Well, there is a crowd here, and as we saw at Watford, Ash, it's not necessarily a bad thing, I don't think, that an opposition team has fans, because as we saw at Watford, it created a better tempo of the game, which helped Cardiff City and just makes it feel a bit more like football again.
Yeah, certainly. It adds to the adversity in many regards, and I think that's something that this Cardiff team tend to deal with well. They create their own adversity a lot of the time, conceding sloppy early goals and needing to fight back into games. But I do think we know these are a really resilient bunch of players. That there's a lot of graft and grit and determination in there. I do think you're right, and a small amount of away fans plays into their hands.
Norwich City down from the Premier League last season, of course, and they haven't incurred the fate of a lot of sides that do come down from the top flight, like Bournemouth and Watford. All three of these sides are challenging right at the top of the division. And Cardiff City, of course, a little way behind, but 5 wins out of 6 going into this one, having won their last 2 away fixtures, should be full of confidence.
Yeah, these are two teams, top 2 in the form table at the moment in the Championship. Ourselves and then Barnsley throw them into the mix, with the 3 teams in the division with 5 wins from their last 6 games. So both teams come into this in really fine form.